identifying the fears that are holding you back from the life of your dreams. Welcome to the Hopefulist with me, Wendy McClure. This is where we turn those nasty, negative thoughts into positive and work toward a happy, fulfilled life. Now, let's get started. Indeed, let's get started. Let's start out with the quote of the day, as usual, on this rainy Monday day. We are having a bit of a cold spell, but warming up just enough for it to turn into rain instead of snow, which is much appreciated since we have had a heck of a lot of snow this year. I mean, just too much snow. I think we're good. I think we've taken our share. So the quote of the day today, taking huge, scary leaps into the unknown is the best way to scare your BS to the surface. It's like a 2-for-1 deal. You make progress and you unearth your shit. The key is to keep moving forward when you uncover your deep-seated fears and beliefs, not retreat into endless self-analysis. Anyone else do endless self-analysis? Yeah, me, right here. It's awful. It's analysis paralysis. Have you heard that term? It's when you have a decision to make and you can't decide because you just have too many options or you just don't know which option to go. So instead of just making a decision, you're stuck in this analysis paralysis and nothing happens. So sometimes it's okay to even make a wrong decision as long as you're taking action. Do you get what I'm saying? Makes sense? All this month, we're going to be focusing on identifying and overcoming your fears. There are so many of the fears that we have that we don't even realize that they're holding us back. They play a big part in our day-to-day lives, but often on the subconscious or subliminal level, so we don't realize how much it affects our decisions. Fear is holding you back from living the life you truly desire, and nothing will change until you address them. That's right. You have to address them in order to overcome them. One of the most fascinating things I've learned about recently is the difference between a growth and a fixed mindset. When you have a fixed mindset, which is what I had for most of my life, you operate under the assumption that you know what you know, and you don't think you can gain much more knowledge about certain things or really anything new. You're like, well, I don't know about that. This is my specialty. On the flip side is a growth mindset, which means the things you don't know how to do, you can learn, and you know that you can learn. One of my biggest issues is technology. I have a habit of saying that I'm terrible at tech. I still say it all the time, terrible at tech. But I've learned so much more than I knew it just even a year or so ago. I'm running and updating my own website. I'm recording and posting a podcast every week. I'm learning how to record guests for the podcast, how to put that together with my intro and outro. It's a lot. And it's very frustrating at times. And it takes me a really long time to get through these tasks the first time. But it's all possible. It can be done. I am an example of that. And now is the best time ever to really learn how to do new things because of this little thing called Google and another little thing called YouTube. Yes, you can honestly find a YouTube video on anything. And it has been a lifesaver for me and many others, I'm sure. Now, if you realize you may have a fixed mindset, and a lot of people do, starting from children, they've done studies on the difference between children who have a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. The children with the fixed mindset just think that if they don't know it, then they just haven't studied it and memorized it enough, where the children with the growth mindset are more interested in learning than about getting all of the answers right. You see the difference? So stop saying things like you will never figure it out, or worse, not even try at all. I'm here to tell you that you can do it. It's not only possible, but likely for you to learn what you need to know because of all the technology we have now. And if it's something you can't learn on the internet, then you can have someone show you or take a class or buy a book. But whatever it is you don't know, you absolutely can learn. Having a fixed mindset may be holding you back in so many ways. Maybe you want to try a different career, but you worry about all the things you don't know how to do in that field. You can learn. There are lots of things I worry about in my business. There's a lot I don't know, aside from just even the tech aspect, which is a huge hurdle for me. I have to budget and do accounting and set aside taxes and learn how to put money back in the business. Creating an LLC and all the potential copyright and legal issues. It's a lot. Mind-boggling. It's so much that it would scare a lot of people off from even trying. But this is where the growth mindset is the key to the golden kingdom. You can learn how to do anything, or at the very least, hire someone to do anything for you. There can be all types of things that are holding you back for fear of not enough knowledge. Maybe you're looking for a new house and you find one that is the perfect location with wonderful neighbors. It's the exact type of house you want. It's in your price range, but it needs some fixing up. You can totally learn how to do repairs. There is a YouTube video for everything. It may take longer than you want, and it may not be perfect, but you can do it, and then you can redo it. Or once again, you can hire someone to do it. Fear holds us back in so many ways, mostly in the form of limiting beliefs. That is when we think we can't do something just because we haven't done it before. I like to use the example of a toddler learning how to walk. Did you know they fall on average of 18 times an hour when learning to walk? And I bet when you watched your child, you never once said, oh, well, they just can't figure it out. I guess they will crawl for the rest of their lives. No, of course not. You kept encouraging them and applauding their progress, no matter how small it was. That is what you need to do for yourself. The other thing you need to do is stop telling yourself that you aren't cut out for certain things. Some people think they can't be runners or athletic because they've never done those things before. But that just means you haven't really tried. Or maybe you gave up too soon. Take my pickleball obsession. I've never been a particularly athletic person when it comes to sports, but I started playing this game and it's literally become part of my daily life. I don't know if I would call myself athletic even now, but I do like to win. Now, I've always been competitive. That's never been the issue. Mostly, though, it's just fun and a great way to get active every day. Kind of like when you've tried to get healthy and lose weight in the past. You may have always fallen off the wagon or not been able to reach your goal. It doesn't mean that you can't. It just means you haven't found a plan that works for you yet. But to say I just can't do it, it isn't helpful. Not only that, it's not true. Because you can. You just need to find something that works for you and commit to it. Be disciplined and build new habits. Learning anything new is never easy, but staying the same is worse when you know you want to grow and evolve. You can do literally anything you set your mind to if you are willing to put in the work. Now, some things are worth the work, some things aren't. Those are your decisions to make. But don't ever think that you can't do something because you never have and no one in your family ever has. You are you, and you can design your life exactly as you wish. Exactly as you wish. And that's what I hope you do. Start by trying to recognize when you are letting a limiting belief hold you back from something you want to do or try. Nobody got up one day and just ran a marathon. They started with a half mile and then a mile and then 2. You have to be willing to make mistakes and look foolish sometimes, which is the thing that used to stop me. But now I've looked foolish so many times, I realize it's not the end of the world like I feared it would be. I've looked so foolish at times, I've realized that life just goes on. But now I'm smarter because even if I don't know what to do yet, I know what not to do. And there you go. Don't ever be afraid to try. The only people who will judge you for trying something new are others who aren't willing to even try. But the hardest part and the first step is to realize how many limiting beliefs you may be having every day. Watch when you tell yourself there is something you can't do or something you don't know anything about. Ask yourself, is that statement true? Is it true that I can't stay with a healthy eating regimen, that I can't keep up with a workout routine? Is it true that I'm destined to be fat and unhealthy forever? Is it true that you can't run a marathon? Well, probably not today, but you can run a half mile or even a block at the very least, and you work your way up. Maybe you haven't had much luck with losing weight. Maybe you have just been stuck in a pattern that doesn't work for you. When was the last time you tried a different approach to your weight loss and health goals? I mean, a different approach. Maybe it's time to mix it up and explore different programs because there's about 1 million out there to see which one seems to fit most in your lifestyle. What do you think you can handle on a daily basis for months on end? Do not set yourself up to deprive yourself. That is setting yourself up to fail. Find a plan that's going to allow you to go slow and steady because that's better than fast and quitting. Learning and changing patterns is something that takes a lot of intentional work. You are likely breaking a pattern you've had for years, if not most of your life. And girl, that is hard. So take the time to find the right approach and give yourself grace when things may not go as well as you hope. Keep at it. Make adjustments, but always, always work on improving yourself because your limiting belief is wrong. You really can do anything you set your mind to. You just have to believe you can, and that is often the biggest hurdle. If you'd like to dive a little deeper into figuring out some of your limiting beliefs, please schedule a free call with me to talk about some personal positivity training. We will work together to turn those negative, limiting beliefs into powerful affirmations, proving that you do what you say you're going to do. It's one of the pillars of a Hopefulist, and I really want to help you become the person you've always wanted to be. Just visit hopefulist.com/training. If you like today's episode, please leave me a review and hit that subscribe or follow button if you haven't already, so you will be notified when a new episode is ready for you. And please spread the Hopefulist word to your friends and family so they can get their dose of inspiration and positivity. Now, go make great things happen this week. And, of course, be badass. I'm always here cheering you on. Thank you for listening to The Hopefulist. Now, don't you feel good? Make sure you come back next week. See you then.